Hey Cornerstone, it's Pastor Chuck Church here again to just share with you a brief minute to talk about some of the things that we have going on and to tell you a little bit about this upcoming Sunday. Well, before we get started, I wanted to just share with you about this new series that we're beginning. But I want to start with this. Acts chapter 2 and verses 42 through 47 and Acts chapter 4 verse 32 through 35 are two of my favorite verses when I think of what the ideal church would be. These verses describe the first church and the intimate fellowship that the first Christians, the disciples, had with one another. I remember about 7 years ago, I was sitting in a small group discussion with some high school seniors at my previous church, and we were discussing these verses, and we were talking about what that church would look like and how amazing it would be for us to be a part of a church like that, but also what kind of sacrifice it would require to be a part of that church. One young man, his name was Carter, spoke up and he said, I think we've experienced this before. Now, when he said that, we all looked at him kind of puzzled, like, what are you talking about? Because I know for most of the kids, they didn't feel like our church at the time was like that at all. So one of the girls asked him, so how so? And Carter then begins to describe the past summer we had. We went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and spent a week there helping others out by doing repairs on homes for elderly and disabled people. And while we were there, we stayed at a church, First United Methodist Church of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and we did everything together. We ate together, we worked together, we shared, everything. It was all together. And then not only that, they also made a lot of sacrifices together. And that's when I stopped. I said, well, sacrifices? What do you mean? What sort of sacrifices did we make? And Carter reminded us, that we made the students made some big sacrifices. They gave up their comfort, they gave up their convenience and time. And as a matter of fact, on that trip, they also gave up something that was really hard for many of them, and it was their cell phones. And so many of the students, they made a pledge, and they pledged that they wouldn't even touch their cell phones the entire trip. And they said they experienced something so beautiful, so wonderful, that this time together, this setting themselves apart, was just so beautiful. And as we discussed that, we started to think about what could we do to be like that. Now, Carter concluded by saying that he would gladly sacrifice everything to live in a church like that. And then the rest of our discussion was spent discussing how we could turn our current church at the time, into a church like that of Acts 2 and 4. Unfortunately, as our discussion went on, we realized that it was going to be difficult. And one of the real reasons it was going to be so difficult is that the culture that we had lived in wasn't very conducive to living like that. I mean, it wasn't, they started talking about how they're expected to go to school, they're expected to have a job, they're expected to do all these sort of things, and they couldn't just live like that forever. And I started to think about that, and I said, can we no longer be a church in this day like that was seen in Acts chapter 2 and Acts chapter 4? But then I thought, maybe it's not the culture. Maybe it's our unwillingness to make sacrifices at times. So this Sunday, we're going to be kicking off our new series, and it's called Renovate. Renovate means to restore something that's old to a good state of repair. So you think of this, the church, it's old. The church, as the Christian church as a whole, is over 2,000 plus years old. And it started off in what I feel, was a beautiful state in Acts chapter 2, in Acts chapter 4. But then somehow got to the point it is now. We're seeing our church die. Not just Cornerstone, but we're seeing the church in general die across this world because we've lost that fervor that the church once had. So here's my desire. We're kicking off this new series called Renovate. And we're going to see how we can, or what the church can do and what Cornerstone can do to restore what was so beautiful about the first Christian church now. So join us this Sunday. We'll have a small group discussion about this at 9:30 in rooms 210 and I believe 211, and then we'll have worship at 10:30 a.m. So I encourage you to come out and hear us talk about this. So renovate something that is new and exciting for Cornerstone. I hope you're going to be a part of it. It's something that I really like you to consider. All right, so two other things I want you to consider. Next week we have a Marriage 101 class beginning. There's already about a half a dozen people signed up, but there's always room for more. I want to encourage you to sign up for that. You can go to www.cornerstone-umc.org/marriage 101, and you'll see the link right here. Or you can go to the other opportunity I want to tell you about is our Screw Tape letter discussion based on C.S. Lewis's Screw Tapes. It'll be led by one of our church members. His name's Jerry Tucker, and he'll be doing that on Thursday nights starting April 18th. And so you can sign up for that right here as well. So I encourage you to do that. Those are two wonderful things that are coming up. But in the meantime, y'all have a blessed week, and I'll see you this Sunday. In God's grip, Pastor Chuck Church. I'll see you later. Alrighty, bye-bye.
You wrote a letter and you signed your name. I read every word of it page by